Shalom. Thank you for joining me today. This is part 2 of the study that I did on the Serpent. And if you haven't watched the first part, please go back to that before you continue with this one so that you get a better understanding. I'm going to include scripture in the description box. Again, I'm going to put in my disclaimer is that I am not a teacher. I'm a student of the greatest teacher, and I am sharing my study notes with my beloved classmates. All right, so we're going to get started. Where we left off was Maccabees in the last video. Hakma is wisdom, which is another Apocrypha book. Chapter 2, verse 22 through 24. As for the secrets of Elohim, they did not know them, neither did they expect the wages of righteousness, nor discern a word for blameless lives. For Elohim created man to be immortal, and made him to be an image of his own immortality. Nevertheless, death came into the world through envy of the devil, and those who hold to his side find it. In chapter 4, verse 1, it is better to have no children and to have virtue, for the remembrance of it is forever, because it is known with Elohim and with men. Verse 3, but the multiplying brood of the wicked shall not thrive, nor take deep root by illegitimate seed, nor lay any lasting foundation. Sirach 12:13. Who shall pity a charmer that is bitten by a serpent, or any who come near wild beasts? Verse 16. An enemy speaks sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagines how to throw you into a pit. Chapter 13, verse 5, Sirach. If you possess whatever, he shall live with you. He shall also leave you naked, and shall not be sorry for it. If he has need of you, he shall deceive you, and smile at you, and have you in expectancy. He shall speak smooth words to you, and say, what do you need? And he shall shame you with his delicacies until he has drained you dry 2 or 3 times, and in the end he shall mock you afterward. In chapter 12, verse 18, he will pretend to help you, but will do you wrong. He shall shake his head and clap his hands and whisper much and change his face. Sirach 21, 2 through 3. Flee from sin as from the face of a serpent. For if you come too close to it, it shall bite you. The teeth of it are as teeth of a lion, slaying the beings of men. All wickedness is a two-edged sword, the wounds of which cannot be healed. Sirach 25, 13 through 16. Speaking of wisdom, speaking of a man that is proud, wealthy man, that is a liar, and an old adulterer who is foolish. Verse 13. Any wound but a wound of the heart, any wickedness but the wickedness of a woman, and any affliction but the affliction from those that hate me, and any revenge but the revenge of my enemies. There is no venom above the venom of a serpent, and there is no wrath above the wrath of an enemy. I would rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to dwell in a house with a wicked woman. Okay, so I am going to read the Apocrypha of Adam and Hawa, Adam and Eve. This is Seth's account, is my understanding, and this is a little story on this is that, or understanding rather, Eve was in charge of the south and the west garden where the creatures, the female creatures resided. Adam was in charge of the north and the east gardens where the male creatures resided. Satan went to Adam's side of the garden and spake to the serpent, saying, Rise up, come to me, and I will tell you a word whereby you may have profit. And he arose and came to him. This is the serpent, okay, to Satan. And the devil said to him, I hear that you are wiser than all the beasts, and I have come to counsel you. Why do you eat of Adam's tares and not of paradise? Rise up, and we will cause him to be cast out of paradise, even as we were cast out through him. The serpent said to him, I fear lest Yahuwah be wroth with me. The devil said to him, Fear not, only be my vessel, and I will speak through your mouth words to deceive him. And instantly he hung himself from the wall of paradise. And when the messengers, or angels, ascended to worship Elohim, Satan appeared in the form of an angel and sang hymns like the angels. And I, Hawa, Eve, bent over the wall and saw him like an angel. But he said to me, Are you Eve? Art thou Eve? And I said to him, I am. And he said unto me, What are you doing in paradise? And I said to him, Elohim set us to guard and eat of it. The devil answered through the mouth of the serpent, You do well, but you do not eat of every plant. And I said to him, Yea, we eat of all, save one, only which is in the midst of paradise, concerning which Elohim charged us not to eat of. For he said to us, On the day on which you eat of it, you shall die the death. Then the serpent said, May Elohim live, but I am grieved on your account. For I would have not have you ignorant, but arise, come hither, hearken to me, and eat, and mind the value of that tree. But I said to him, I fear lest Elohim be wroth with me, as he told us, and he said to me, Fear not, for as soon as you eat of it, you shall be as Elohim in that you shall know good and evil. But Elohim perceived this, that you would be like him, so he envied you, and said, You shall not eat of it. Nay, do you give heed to the plant, and you will see its great glory. Yet I feared to take of the fruit, and he said to me, Come here, and I will give it to you. Follow me. And I opened him to him, and he walked a little way, then turned aside and said to me, I have changed my mind, and I will not give you to eat until you swear to me, okay, taking an oath, where you swear to me, and give also to your husband. And I said to him, What sort of oath shall I swear to you? Yet what I know I say to you, by the throne of the Master, and by the cherubim, and the tree of life, I will give also to my husband to eat. And when he received the oath from me, he went and poured the fruit, the poison of his wickedness, which is lust, the root and the beginning of every sin. And he bent the branch on the earth, and I took of the fruit, and ate. And in that very hour my eyes were opened, and forthwith I knew that I was bare of the righteousness which I have been clothed upon. And I wept and said to him, Why have you done this to me, in that you have deprived me of my glory in which I was clothed? But I wept also about the oath which I had sworn. But he descended from the tree and vanished, and I began to seek in my nakedness in part for leaves to hide my shame. But I found none, for as soon as I had eaten the leaves, showered down from all the trees, in my part, except the fig tree only. But I took leaves from it and made for myself a girdle, and it was from the very same plant of which I had eaten. Then she cried out for Adam to show him a great secret. She told him to rise up, and when he came, she spake to him words of transgression, which had brought them down from their glory. For when he came, I opened my mouth, and the devil was speaking, and I began to exhort him, and I said, Come here, my lord Adam, hearken to me, and eat of the fruit of the tree which Elohim told us not eat of, and you shall be as a god. And Adam feared Elohim would be wroth with him. She told him to fear not, for as soon as you eat, you will know good and evil. And speedily I persuaded him, and he ate, and straightway his eyes were opened, and he too knew his nakedness, and said to me, O wicked woman, what have I done to thee, that you have deprived me of my glory of Elohim? So Adam and Eve had made a covenant with Satan. Okay, Adam through Eve. So what we see here, in life, right, and reproduction, Yahuwah gave instruction not to do it. He knew that Satan was going to tempt them, but he gave free will to Adam and Eve, and they were deceived by sweet, seducing words. Okay, the most beautiful of the beasts had become the most ugly and the most venomous. His speech wasn't taken away at first, but then later on it was muted. And then we see, again, Eve made a covenant with the serpent, with the devil, when he was speaking through him. All right. There's also, if you've read Bill and the Snake, or Bill and the Dragon, and Bill or Baal, which is a pagan word for Lord. Okay, Lord is the pagan word. That's what it means. This is where the king worshipped Baal or Baal, but Daniel, the nabi, okay, Daniel's name means judgment of ill. The nabi, that means prophet, he only worshipped Yahuwah. So you could read that whole, I think it's about 8 or 9 chapters in that book. Yahu, which is Matthew, chapter 7, verse 10 through 11. Or if he asks for a fish, shall he give him a snake? If you then, being wicked, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more shall your Father who is in the Shamayim, okay, heaven, give what is good to those who ask him? Matthew 10:15 through 16. Truly I say to you, it shall be more bearable for the land of Sodom, which means burning, and Amorah, which means heap or ruin, in the day of judgment, than for that city. See, I send you out as sheep in the midst of wolves. Therefore be as wise as serpents and as innocent as doves. Matthew 23:33. This is starting out by, woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites. Okay. Serpents, you brood of adders, how would you escape the judgment of Gehinnom? Okay, Gehinnom means the valley of lamentation. Mark 16:15 through 18. And he said to them, the Talmudim, to disciples, go into all the world and proclaim the good news to every creature. He who has believed and has been immersed shall be saved, but he who has not believed shall be condemned. And these signs shall accompany the ones who believe. In my name, Yahusha, okay? In my name they shall cast out demons. They shall speak with renewed tongues. They shall take up snakes, and if they drink anything deadly, it shall be by no means hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall get well. Luke 10:19. See, I give you the authority to trample on serpents and scorpions and all over the power of the enemy, and none at all shall hurt you. The verse prior to, he has said to them, I saw Satan falling out of the Shamayim as lightning. This verse reminds me of a flag that we have. It says, don't tread on me, with the coiled serpent. And we are given authority to trample on serpents. Just a thought. Okay. Luke 11:11. This starts out, knock and it shall be open to you. Okay. Knock. Dalet. Yahusha is the door. Okay. And what father among you whose son asks for bread shall give him a stone, or if he asks for a fish shall give him a snake instead of a fish? Or if he asks for an egg shall give him a scorpion? Yohanan, which is John 3:14. And as Moshe lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so the Ben of Adam, the son of Adam, has to be lifted up, so that whoever believing in him should not perish but possess everlasting which is life. In John 8:44, this is where Yahusha is talking to the Pharisees again. Pharisees means separate or separate. You are of your father, the devil, and the desires of your father you want to do. He was a murderer from the beginning and has not stood in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaks the lie, he speaks of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. Ma'aseh, which is Acts 28, verse 3 through 6. But Shaul, and Shaul, or Paul, Shaul means asked or requested. Having gathered a bundle of sticks and having laid them on a fire, an adder came out because of the heat and fastened itself on his hand. And when the foreigners saw the creature hanging from his hand, they said to each other, this man is certainly a murderer, whom through saved from the sea, still right ruling does not allow to live. Then he indeed shook off the creature into the fire and suffered no evil. And expecting that he would swell up or suddenly fall down dead, they waited for a long time and saw no harm coming to him. Changing their minds, they said that he was a mighty one. 1 Corinthians, which is Corinthians 1:10, chapter 10, verse 8 through 9. Neither should we commit whoring, as some of them did, and in one day 23,000 fell. Neither let us try Mashiach, Messiah, as some of them also tried and were destroyed by serpents. Okay, in the second time to Corinth, 2 Corinthians 11:3. For I gave you in marriage to one husband to present you as an innocent maiden to Messiah. But I am afraid lest, as the serpent deceived Hawa, Eve, by his trickery, so your minds should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Mashiach, Messiah. Jacob, which is James, chapter 3, verse 7. For every kind of beast and bird, of reptile and creature of the sea is tamed and has been tamed by mankind, but no man is able to tame the tongue, his unruly evil filled with deadly poison. Hassan, which is Revelation, chapter 12, verse 9 through 15. And the great dragon was thrown out, that serpent of old, called the devil and Satan, which means adversary, who leads all the world astray. He was thrown to the earth, and his messengers were thrown out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in the Shemayim, now have come the deliverer and the power and the reign of our Elohim and the authority of his Mashiach, his Messiah. For the accuser of our brothers, who accuse them, accuser of our brothers who accuse them, before our Elohim day and night, has been thrown down. And they overcame him because of the blood of the Lamb and because of the word of their witness, and they did not love their lives to the death. Because of this, rejoice, O Shamayim, and you who dwell in them. Woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has come down to you, having great wrath, knowing he has little time. And when the dragon saw that he had been thrown to the earth, he persecuted the woman who gave birth to the male child. And the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle, to fly into the wilderness to your place, where she is nourished for a time and times and a half a time from the presence of the serpent. And out of his mouth the serpent spewed water like a river after the woman, to cause her to be swept away by the river. So go back and read Genesis chapter 3 verse 15. The woman prophesied who would be the enemy of Satan. Revelation 20 verse 2 through 3. And he seized the dragon, the serpent of old, who is the devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years, and threw him into the pit of the deep, and shut him up, and put a seal on him, so that he should lead the nations no more astray until the 1,000 years were ended. And after that, he has to be released for a little while. Okay, that is by no means a complete scripture on the serpent, but hopefully that helps to get you started, and that you've learned something from that. Like I said, we're always learning, we're always growing, and we're to encourage each other. A few side notes that I have here. The ancient serpent in Revelation 12 and 20, who is called the devil and Satan, is equated to Gadrael, okay, which we read about in Enoch, one of the wicked angels that descended from heaven to lay with, okay, women on earth. Gad is also a pagan word for luck, okay. It's a Hebrew nickname for Gadrael, which means to cut or divide. And I think it was in Isaiah where he said Gad and Mini suffered judgment, or he had spoke about Gad and Mini. Dragons are the largest serpent, the winged serpent, Ophis pityratos, the feathery winged snake guarded for frankincense groves of Arabia. Egyptians worshipped snakes, especially cobras. Like, again, I'm not giving any homage to any false mighty ones. I'm only reading some notes to go back to what we went through so that we understand it, okay? The sun god Ra and other deities, Wajet, Renuhutit, Nekabaka, and Meritzir, I don't even know that I'm pronouncing them right anyways. They were serpent fertility cults that were believed it represented rebirth and fertility. The word Naga, or myth word, Naga is Sanskrit for serpent, which meant half human, cobra, a shapeshifter. Cobras inject their venom through their fangs. The Hebrew word Nahas means deceptive creature or trickster who promotes as good what Yahuwah has forbidden and is cunning in deception. Snake venom is used in certain medications. Captopril, Integralon, and Agristat, all approved by the FDA, and you can Google all that, okay? King cobra venom proteins are used in medicines for cancer, pain. I read from pain, it's from black mambas. High blood pressure, heart attack, strokes, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's. Venom is used in face creams. It freezes wrinkles and expression lines and is used in Botox. DNA exists in venom. From what I've read, it's been used in the E. Okay, and you can look at that website for that information. A chemical is being developed for killing parasites from the prairie rattlesnake. There are 4 types of snake venom: proteolytic, hemotoxic, neurotoxic, and cytotoxic. Venom can activate the blood clotting system. In the UK, they sell snake venom beer for $76 per bottle. In traditional Chinese medicine, venom is distilled into wine that is also used as an aphrodisiac that enhances fertility and is used in tequila. Okay, this is why you shouldn't be drinking alcohol, but that's just me, okay? It's used as a symbol in health, pharmacology, jewelry. There are numerous designer perfumes made from Venom. There's also an energy drink called Venom Energy. To name a few of their flavors: Black Mamba, Mojave Rattler, Killer Tapian, and Death Adder. The alcoholic content is 6.6 and up to 8% higher than most beer. It's used in some makeups, okay? In the Torah, in the instruction, the teachings, we learn in Leviticus 20:15 through 16 about lying with a beast, okay? It's under the law of sexual defilements and law for women and a law for men, okay? Also see adultery. Drugs, alcohol, and sex. The beginning of sin started with lust. If you're battling this or feeling trapped in bondage by it, there is a way out. Repenting, okay? Penitence, repenting, seeking His face with all of your deep inward parts, okay? Like David said, from my deep inward parts, try my heart and my kidneys, my deep inward parts, and fleeing that lifestyle. Don't turn back to it. Don't turn back to it like Lot's wife, right? Don't turn back. You're not missing anything back there, because what's ahead of you is way better than what's back there, okay? So we're to walk in righteousness, yashar, to walk upright. And the more that we spend time with Him, and the more that we, get to understand His Word, we walk more and more like Him. It's continual, okay? It's a continual process. Like the prodigal son, let us return to our Father. So I hope that this study helped you to understand a few things about the serpent. And like I said, in the description box, I will include scripture so that you can go back and study it for yourself. And as always, I hope that you have a wonderful remainder of your day. Shalom, shalom.